The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" This is a disgraceful abdication of leadership. There is a reason the founding fathers abhorred direct democracy and instead set up a constitutional republic. And this is it. It's really popular today to emphasize group decision making. And no doubt, a wise man does avail himself of good counsel. But leaders lead, and they pay the consequences for their decisions. They don't try to escape accountability by throwing it out to the committee. Now, I mentioned his wife earlier, and I think this is why she is included. She basically serves as his conscience personified. Matthew uses her as his Jiminy Cricket because his narrative is fast-paced and just a summary of an entire ministry. John, on the other hand, goes much deeper into Pilate's internal conflict. I want to explore John's narrative deeper, but before we do, let's give Pilate a little more context to understand his mindset. Judea in the first century was full of unrest, and Pilate's reign was one of constant conflict. At the time of this incident, Rome had control of Jerusalem for only 2 decades, and we are less than 40 years away from a rebellion that caused Rome to basically destroy all of Jerusalem and disperse the Jews throughout the world. It is safe to say that Pilate did not have an easy job. But we can also say that he didn't make it any easier. Early in his tenure, Pilate offended the Jews by moving imperial standards with the image of Caesar into Jerusalem under the cover of night. This violates the commandment against graven images. So a crowd protested outside his house for a week. Pilate had them brought to the arena where his soldiers threatened to kill them, but they didn't back down. So Pilate surrendered and removed the pagan standards. According to Philo, in either a second incident involving gold shields or possibly the same one told differently, the Emperor Tiberius sided with the Jews and reprimanded Pilate. Again, I'm not excusing Pilate. With great power comes great responsibility. And if you aren't prepared to take on the burdens of leadership, don't accept it because you want the perks. I am, however, stating that psychologically, I can certainly see why Pilate wants to wash his hands of the whole incident. On one side, he has Jews constantly revolting. On the other, he has Caesar demanding that he maintain order. But then he spanks him for doing it in a very Roman way. When one feels they will be deemed wrong, regardless of what decision they make, they tend to want to punt and let others take responsibilities for their decision. Let us look at John's account, which adds a whole lot of detail. We're in chapter 19. Then Pilate took Jesus and flogged him. And the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head and arrayed him in a purple robe. They came up to him saying, "Hail, the King of the Jews!" and struck him with their hands. Pilate went out again and said to them, "See, I am bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no guilt in him." This is not justice. This is mob rule. Pilate knows that Jesus is innocent, and he's on social media trying to get the crowd to agree with him, but he isn't getting any likes. And the Pharisees, who control the thought of the culture, keep slapping warnings over Pilate's decree that say fake news before they outright censor him. So Jesus came out wearing a crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, "Behold, the man." When the chief priests and officers saw him, they cried out, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no guilt in him." The Jews answered him, "We have a law, and according to that law he ought to die because he has made himself the Son of God." When Pilate heard this statement, he was even more afraid. Why was he afraid? Well, we go back to his wife. In their culture, dreams were considered divine messages. Think of the oracles from Greek and Roman mythology. Examining the evidence, or complete lack thereof, Pilate sees that Jesus committed no crime under Roman law. Now that the Jews make it clear that their offense is because Jesus claimed divinity, Pilate's wife's warning take on profound importance.